And now, let's take a look at what's new at BoardGameBliss.com with Nick Meanahan.
Hey now folks, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and it is time for another What's New at Board Game Bliss. This is where I talk about a bunch of new releases and new restocked releases over at my sponsor, BoardGameBliss.com, who is an amazing sponsor. They have a fantastic store, lots of brand new games, as well as games that you've probably never even heard of before because they are hard to find European titles, and this guy gets all of them in. It's a fantastic store. You can lose yourself just finding all these really interesting niche titles that a lot of them are really, really good. So whenever I can, I shop there, and I sure hope that you do as well. I will give my standard disclaimer here that while I have played some of the games that I'm about to talk about, or at least I know something about them, I have some sort of opinion about them, this is not a review segment. This is just me talking about some of the new releases. Some of these I have never played before, so do not take that as my endorsement. I just want to give you the information. So thank you so much for watching. Let's get to it. First up is a game called Got Invaders, which I have right here. This is from designer Martin Wallace and his company Tree Frog Games. I have not played this yet. I just got my copy. A friend of mine got 2 copies from the Kickstarter, the long-delayed Kickstarter, and so I purchased one of them from him, and I can't wait to give it a shot. There are a ton of plastic miniatures in this game that are really cool. They're not really high quality, but they're great looking, like sort of campy monster miniatures, and you're all mad scientists who control these monsters, and you're trying to wreck the city and keep the human military at bay. Interesting theme, looks great, really can't wait to give it a shot. It's a 3 or 4 player game, although the Kickstarter version has special 2-player rules. I'm not entirely sure which version is on the Board Game Bliss site, but either way, I can't endorse the game yet. I don't know if it's great. I just know it looks super cool, and I can't wait to give it a shot. So if you're interested, take a look, see if it's for you. You may know the game Epics by another name, and that is Melee, of which I have the indie boards and cards version in my hands. The version that's called Epics is actually a multilingual German version, but they are the same game, and I do believe that the version of Epics has the English rules in it as well. And the fact is, I actually reviewed Melee, not this one, the original version of the game, which with much worse components, from designer Ricky Tata, who is the designer of Coup, more famously. But I really enjoyed Melee. I think it's a really quirky little area control game, like a filler territory control game and combat game. And this new version, whether it's Epics or Melee, same thing. They have vastly improved artwork from Nayade. I just love this cover art. Again, this is the Melee version, but it's the same thing as Epics, and it also has the cards and such inside of the board have this like pixel art that's really, really well done. I don't always like pixel art, but it looks really great and colorful and well produced here. And again, I could definitely endorse this game because I liked it quite a bit, and if you're interested, give it a shot. Spinderella is a kids game from a company very well known for kids games called Zoc, which is a name I also love. I don't know too much about this, and I obviously never played it. I do know that it was one of the games in the running for the Kinderspiel des Jahres for this year, which is the Spiel des Jahres award for best kids game, and it looks interesting. It has really great bits. It's like spiders trying to grab ants as they go along this forest path. So if you've got kids, I have heard that the games of Zoc and Haba are the best games for kids out there, period. And they're just now starting to trickle into the American market. So give it a shot if you've got kids. 2 Rooms and a Boom is finally available for purchase. This was another very long delayed Kickstarter, and I don't know why, because it really is just a big deck of cards and a somewhat nice looking box. But regardless, this is an interesting game to me because I think I've played it grand total now maybe 6 times. And the first time I played it was actually like over 2 years ago, I think. It was a prototype print and play version of the game that a friend of mine brought to one of our very first game days, International Tabletop Day. That's what it was. The very first International Tabletop Day, that was one of the games that we played. And I wasn't a fan of it then. Now, I played it 2 or 3 more times at Dice Tower Con this year with the official new version of it. I played it with Dan, the Game Boy Geek, and a few other people from the Dice Tower Network, Alex Suze, the app person from Board Game Breakfast, the show that I'm on. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there. But anyways, we all played it together with a bunch of other people, and I had more fun, but I still wasn't in love with it. And then finally I played it again down here at Cool Stuff, at our local Cool Stuff, with Vassal and his crew. And again, more fun, but just still the same. So I don't know about this game. First and foremost, you need a huge crowd of people for it. Definitely. This is not like Werewolf or the Resistance where you can get by with 8 to 12 people, something like that. This needs a lot of people. And you really need to add in extra rolls, which do come in the box to add more flavor to it. For me, I just kind of liked it. But other people that I played with loved it, adored it, thought it was one of the greatest things ever. But a lot of people also who did love it also admitted this is probably a con game. This is a game that you'll take to conventions to play, where you can have a lot of people in a lot of open space. That's the other thing that you need. You literally need 2 rooms in order to get the best effect for this. So I think some people are going to love it. Some people are just going to be, it's okay. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But certainly if you're interested, take a look. And finally, the last one we're going to talk about today is Maze Racers. Now, this is another kid-centric game, although a lot of the pictures I see are of adults playing it. And it has a really interesting premise. It has, you're trying to construct a maze. You're working against your opponent, constructing a maze that they're going to have to go through, but your opponent's also making something that you're going to have to endure. And there's, magnetic walls. You're trying to get a ball through this maze. It seems really interesting. It seems like they're taking a lot of those games that are mass-market games that we grew up with, like Mousetrap, but actually making a good game out of it, which I've been seeing more and more lately, and I certainly appreciate that, especially for a kid's game, because, what you pick up as a kid is going to carry through to when you're an adult, and if you play nothing but bad games like Monopoly and Risk and Mousetrap, that's what you're going to come to expect from board gaming. So I really appreciate that there are companies like I'm sorry, I'm blanking, but the publisher of Maze Racers, Zoc and Haba and all these other companies are actually going the extra mile to make cool, dexterity games and games with cool physical bits that actually are good games, or at least decent games, which we certainly have not had a lot of here in America. But that's it for this What's New at Board Game Bliss update. As usual, no matter what game you're interested in, please take a look at Board Game Bliss. They have fantastic deals on a wonderful selection of games. So many games to check out. So many interesting games you've probably never even heard of. So what are you doing? Go and watch right now. Go and look at all of their stuff and consider a purchase. They are my amazing sponsor, and certainly as much as you've supported me in the past, I hope that you pass that along to my sponsor as well, because they do a lot for us here at Board Game Brawl, the Royal Us. So thank you so much for watching. Take care.